Hi, how are you? I am Brando, and this time I will talk to you about what a typical Canadian person is. Um, well, these are not actual facts, okay? But this is like an idea of how a Canadian person can be if you are to go to Canada. It doesn't matter if it's the French part or the English part, okay? So the first trade would be Canadians are usually casual and informal. Okay, regardless of their income, social status, or responsibilities, Canadians are remarkably casual. Uh, they uh, they dress for their workplaces. They have to meet a professional dress code, but they don't flash expensive shoes or accessories. Outside regular working hours, it's common to see people walking around wearing very casual clothing, such as yoga pants, sweatpants, or flip-flop sandals. On a personal and professional level, interactions are also largely informal. In large corporations, the CEO may be known as Jane or Bob, and she or he can be surprisingly approachable. Uh, and there are no gated communities like no-go zones or places where people don't go because in every large city, a few neighborhoods or areas are clearly upper class, but yet the division between rich and poor doesn't seem as deep as in several cities around the world. Okay, because they stay. That's also because of the economic situation in the country, but also because they don't like reject others because they don't belong to their social group or something like that. The other thing would be that Canadians eat early and snack throughout the day. Having dinner with Canadians is something like that you can get invited, or you can get invited to eat at around 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. if you're having when having dinner. That's very early. Because then they are going to have dinner at around 10 or 9, because that can be like like some kind of snack. Okay, they have lunch, they have breakfast very before noon. Then they have lunch at around 5 or 6, and then they have dinner at around 9 or 10, and then they eat snacks throughout the day. That's something very particular because, well, people usually have breakfast in the morning, lunch at around 1 or 12, and then they have dinner at maybe 8 or 9 p.m. Canadians value their personal space. The only thing that they do is that they hug, except for brief hugs. Canadians value their personal space. This is like this invisible sphere surrounding us, and they feel uncomfortable if people are too close or initiate physical contact. If they have to take the public transportation, they sit as far away from other passengers as possible, and eye contact is usually avoided. This need for physical distance is also seen in social context. For example, Canadians are very protective of their privacy, and information such as age, weight, marital status, these kind of questions and opinions also have to be they have to be kept, they have to be reserved for later stages of friendship. They also are very careful when giving information like political opinions, personal matters, and family, etc. And when you invite someone to your house, that's not something very, I mean, inviting someone to your house is not something very common in Canada. You usually would agree to meet in a public place. And if you go to a party in a person's house, the party might be limited to the backyard or to a single room in the house. If you go to a party in someone's house, don't expect that person to give you a tour of the house. You'd only be limited to be in that place, in that single room, or in the backyard. Well, Canadians behave in public, or well, they behave in public and also in private places. They are pretty courteous and they behave in public, even hockey games. They are fairly peaceful. I mean, don't expect to get killed if you support the opposite team. And well, they just behave in public because they care about they value their community, whether it's their street, neighborhood, city, or province, and they play their part to keep it nice. They always try to keep it in good conditions. And finally, we have that Canadians are agreeable. They don't have like passionate arguments. They don't really argue at all, and even protests are very peaceful. Canadians are masters in the art of small talk, and well, they are politically correct kind. They are the politically correct kind of people. When they complain, it's usually because of about the weather, and well, the downside of this is that it's very hard to know very hard to know what people really think. If a Canadian says, for example, sure, I will call you, chances are the person is just being polite. Same goes with common sentences like we should grab a cup of coffee, or let's meet later. They are not always to be taken at face value. Okay, not because they don't want to do it, but because they want to be polite. These were 5 characteristics of Canadian people. As I said before at the beginning of this video, this doesn't mean that all Canadians are like this. This is like the general characteristics they may have. Thank you very much for paying attention, and see you next time. Bye.